Hey everyone, so today I'm sharing 3 quick and easy Daniel Fast dinner recipes. The first one is going to be a cauliflower avocado crema, and these are the ingredients that we're going to be using. So you're going to need a head of cauliflower, and I'm going to show you guys how I take off this part because we're not going to be using that. And then I'm going to be using garbanzo beans, chickpeas, and some canned corn. The point is to use ingredients that are quick and easy. Some avocado. Just make sure it's ripe enough that when you press it down, it kind of goes in. So just make sure it's a little ripe, as well as a tomato. I'm only going to use one of these limes right here, and then some parsley as well as some cilantro. All right, so let's get started. I am just going to pull this apart, and I'm going to pull out the core and the stem of this cauliflower and kind of break it up into smaller bite-sized pieces that we can eat. This is going to be the base for our meal, and all I'm going to do is pull out this core right here and pull the parts apart from each other so that I can rinse this off and clean this nice and good. And I'm just cutting off any super large stems, that are making it hard to break apart. So just take your time as you go. And after this, we're going to wash our cauliflower. And we are in the middle of our corporate Daniel fast. If this is your first time hearing about it, you can click the link in the description to learn more. It's been amazing so far. So you just want to make sure that any vegetables that you use, that you wash them nice and clean. And that is what I am doing right here. Okay, so I boiled a pot of water, and all I did was throw my cauliflower in here to boil. As I prepare my other ingredients, I'm going to drain and wash these chickpeas and just get them nice and clean so that we can throw them in the blender. This is actually my food processor. I love this thing. I'll link it in the description, but you can use a blender as well. And I just pitted 2 of the avocados, and I am just scraping both of my avocados out the shell and adding them here. And I am using the juice of half a lemon, but I'm going to add the other half later. I just like to add in my liquids gradually to kind of just control the texture of it and the consistency. So I'm pressing start. And that was my first go round. I am going to add some more lemon juice right here. So this recipe calls for just 1 lemon, and then I just have a bottle cap full, which is like a tablespoonful of olive oil. And I am just going to continue blending. All right, so I am just going to push the sides down because I want to make sure that everything gets blended. And I'm using half of this large tomato that I have. If your tomatoes are smaller, then you can use 2 small tomatoes or half of a large tomato. And I just cut it into 4 quarters, and I'm blending it out until smooth. So you have it nice and smooth. And I really love this chickpea garbanzo bean ingredient with the avocado because this is what gives us this crema and this nice creamy consistency. All right, so while I was doing that, my cauliflower is done boiling. And as you can see, I can pierce a fork through it, but you don't want to overcook this and make it super mushy. Just enough so that it has a little firmness to it. And we are rinsing off our corn nice and clean. And now I am just going to dice up my tomatoes as well as a little bit of cilantro. As you can see, I'm not going to use that whole entire box of cilantro, but just a little bit, and I'm taking out the stems. All right, so I'm chopping it nice and small, And now I am just moving my cauliflower to a dish. It has had time to cool down, and I am going to add my avocado crema and chickpea mixture to it. And I am just going to get everything all mixed in together. So you just want to take your time and just mix this all in. This dish could definitely feed 2, 3, or 4 people. I'm adding some corn, not all the corn, and I'm adding my tomato and cilantro and just mixing this all in. I really love this recipe because the ingredients are fresh. So if you're looking for a more fresh recipe rather than a super cooked one, then you can use this. I just added a little bit of salt and pepper because you are allowed to have mild seasonings on the Daniel fast. And I'm topping this off with some parsley. This is the final result. Try this recipe out and let me know if you like it. Next, we are doing a eggplant sweet potato curry. Now, here's what you're gonna need. I'm using this 90-second whole grain brown rice. I'm so glad I found this because we want to save time in the kitchen, and it's just made out of water and whole grain rice and some oil. So this is a game changer. And then I'm also using some coconut milk. So I have a can of coconut milk right here. I have an eggplant. Okay, and it's pretty small, and a sweet potato, and I have onion, tomato right here, and then I'm also going to be using a little bit of cumin. This is not necessary, that's optional. And then I'm going to be using some cayenne pepper, but I wish I had paprika because this is super spicy. So if you have paprika, I would use that. Some curry powder, and as well as a little bit of olive oil and some minced garlic. I like using this one because it saves time versus having to do it from scratch. And then we are just going to get started with peeling this eggplant, and then we are going to cut this into bite-sized squares. Okay, and I'm going to show you guys. I tried to get them the same size so that our portions of eggplant and sweet potato can be even. So if you could find an eggplant and sweet potato that are similar in size, then that would be perfect for this dish. And I am just dicing these into these bite-sized squares. All right, I like to line this baking sheet with foil, and I do that to save on the time, the cleanup time, so I can just take the foil off. But here I am just peeling my sweet potato, and I'm just gonna clean my surface from this mess so that I can chop it down into bite-sized pieces as well. So I cleaned off my surface, and I am just going to take my time and chop this into similar size square pieces, just like I did with the eggplant. So you just want to take your time and chop this down. And what we're going to do is we're going to roast these vegetables first before we saute them, because it'll make the cooking time quicker if we do that, if we just get it roasted in the oven first. So what I'm going to do is I'm adding this with the eggplant into my baking dish that is lined with foil so it could take time on cleanup so it's not getting stuck to the bottom of the pan. And I am just going to, mix this up so that everything is distributed evenly. And here I'm going to add some of my seasonings. So the first thing we're going to add is olive oil. I like to do like a bottle cap, which is like a tablespoon. I'm gonna add 2 of these, so like 2 bottle caps or 2 tablespoons of olive oil. And I'm going to add cayenne pepper, but like I said, if you have paprika, you can add this, and just a dash because it is spicy. Okay, some black pepper is going to be added to this dish, as well as just a little bit of salt. And then I am going to cover this up so that I can shake it all together like this and make sure all the seasonings are mixed in and distributed evenly. Now I am going to cook this at 425 degrees in the oven. And while that's cooking, I'm going to prepare my other veggies. So I'm just chopping down these tomatoes and these onions into bite-sized pieces. So now I am just putting some garlic in this olive oil. And this is just how you cook curry. You want to make sure you put the curry in. This is about maybe a tablespoon of curry, and you want to cook it down. It is very important that you let your curry cook in this oil. I am going to add my onions and let them cook down and kind of get soft within this curry base that I am making. So I did want to say that I had these veggies roasting in the oven for about 22 minutes in total. And around the 18-minute mark, I started cooking my curry, and then I took the veggies out of the oven, and then I was able to transfer them to this pot. Okay, so 5 minutes before you take your veggies out of the oven, you can start making the curry base, and then just do this transfer. And then you want to add your tomatoes and make sure that you are mixing everything in. Okay, so I'm just mixing everything together, and I'm adding a little bit of ground cumin, just a little bit, but like I said, that is optional. You want to also add some coconut milk. I am not adding the whole can. I'm doing like 1/3 of this can. At most, you can add maybe half the can, but I think just 1/3 of this can to get this sauce going is enough, and you want to cover it up and just allow your food to simmer. Taste your food as you go along to see if you need to add any more seasonings, and just let it simmer as you warm up your rice in the microwave. And then I am just pouring out my rice. It was literally done in 90 seconds. This was super quick. And I just put my eggplant sweet potato curry as a topping with the sauce on top. So try this and let me know if you like this recipe. The next recipe is sauteed veggies and quinoa, and you're going to need some minced garlic, some olive oil, some mushrooms of your choice, as well as I'm using this pepper. You can use any color pepper. That's just what I had. Half a lemon, onion, and tomato, as well as quinoa. You're going to cook the quinoa according to the package instructions that you have. So I'm just boiling my water. I'm adding my quinoa here that I rinsed, and then I am just going to cook it according to my package instructions and cover this up as I prepare to saute my veggies. So I just have my olive oil, I put garlic, as well as I'm adding this onion to the pan, and I'm going to add half of this tomato as well. And honestly, this is one of my favorite recipes to do on the Daniel fast. Super quick and easy, and I'm just taking my time to saute everything together. I ended up adding some orange bell peppers as well as my red bell peppers. I had a little bit of orange that I found. So whatever color bell peppers you want to use is completely fine. And then I'm adding the juice of half this lemon. This is probably the most important ingredient. Make sure you add half that lemon juice, as well as some parsley. Okay, I'm adding a little bit of pepper as well, and I'm not going to add salt to this dish because I don't think it needs it. And I am going to pour my quinoa in a bowl. It is cooked. This is the consistency, and I am just topping it with these veggies. You don't need salt for this recipe because the lemon really adds that kick to it. I tried this and it was super good. So definitely try it. Let me know what you think. If it's your first time on my channel, don't forget to subscribe. If you enjoyed this video, leave it a thumbs up and check out our Daniel fast in the description.